Hi everyone, welcome to today's Industry Solutions webinar. My name is Lisa Stewart and I'm the Marketing and Communications Coordinator at 12D Solutions. 12D's Industry Solutions webinars are designed to provide insights into overcoming challenges in an evolving industry in more effective and efficient ways. We'll keep running these webinars regularly and recording them for posting on our YouTube channels with links through our website. Our previous webinars from this Industry Solutions series, as well as those from our training series, are available online if you missed those. During this presentation, you'll be able to type your questions along the way, as shown on the screen, and we'll answer as many as possible throughout the webinar. At the end, I'll read out some of your questions to the presenter if there's time. Today's webinar, 12D View, will be presented by our co-founder and managing director, Dr. Lee Gregory, who has nearly 40 years of experience in the civil software industry. 12D View allows 12D model users and non-12D model customers to view 12D model projects and aggregate other industry data in a single 3D platform. 12D View is great for engineers, staff on site who want to view civil data in 3D, or anyone who doesn't have access to a full 12D model license and wants to view 3D data. 12D View is free to all users. Simply download and register the program from our website, or you can even run 12D View unregistered. Over to you, Lee.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Welcome everybody to our 12D View webinar. This will be a quick overview of 12D View, mainly for 12D model users. So most of it will be familiar to you. Later we'll do another webinar for non-12D model users. So this will be most things you'll already recognize. It's just telling how things work in 12D View. So we'll be demonstrating the functionality of 12D View and how to get started with 12D View. So as Lisa mentioned, 12D View is a free 12D model project viewer. So it can look at all our projects, any types of projects, and it's very familiar to everybody who views 12D model. The other thing though, it can also view 12D model projects with shares. So you see on the example here, there are two things that have been shared in the two projects. There's a tin and a sewer shared in. So it can read in shared projects as well. 12D View can't save information. It can only look at what information is there, but it is actually able to read in data and view data from a variety of sources. And we'll come and I'll list those later on. Basically, you can read in 12D data, DWGs, GenIOs, IFC data, and ADAC data. You may think you just have to have a 12D model project already, but that's not actually true. It can actually create an empty 12D model project to allow you to read data into it and then view it. Once that happens though, of course, you won't be able to save it away, but you certainly be able to view it all. So there's on the front menu, there's a create empty project, and when you click on that, it'll come up and present this empty project for you. This is the one we're shipping with 12D View 14 C2F. But you can actually set up your own empty project you want to use. Now, just like 12D model, 12D View has views. It has plan, section, perspective views with all the operations that you would expect in 12D model to be on them as well. Such as you can do profiling in section views. So you can pick strings and profile along them, dynamic profiles, all those sorts of things are available in 12D View. The inquire options. So all the inquiry options you've set up, the super inquire ones with all the different ways you can pick things and display it, they are all available in 12D View. And the measure options. So you can do chainage, offset, pick set values, look at attributes. Again, all those different ways you can do, and because it's full 12D model design data, there is no problem. You can get a chainage from alignment string. All that thing is available to you right there. You don't have to do weird things to get access to that data. Now, for authorizing 12D View, there's some who've made use of it already, and I'll just go through the three ways though. If you already have 12D model and your dongle on your computer or access to it, 12D View will actually use that. So it can use a 12D model 12 authorization or 12D model 14 authorization. So I'll just mention one thing here. We are running 12D View 14 and we we're not publishing a separate 12D View 12, say, because 12D Model 14 will pick up the 12D Model 12 project, so that it does them both. So it's just really like the one 12D View. So in this case, they can look at either of your authorizations and open those projects, or you can actually go on and register 12D View. With the thing, it's just a thing you click on to say a registration, and then it should come back to about in 5 minutes, and you save it away. But the other thing that is important, you should know that it actually can run unregistered. So even if you don't have a 12D model registration or a 12D View authorization, you can run it unregistered. And what happens in that case, when it is run unregistered, it'll fire up, and when you open a project, you'll get a message, basically a license warning saying that the current file 12D thing is unregistered, it's only going for today, and so on. That's to let you know that you've got an unregistered version. Plus, you'll see up the top there, the client says unregistered user of 12D View. So when it's unregistered, you'll see that. If though you're using your own dongle and you had a 12D model authorization, then you'll see your normal client registration up there. Or if you registered 12D View, then it will also have the client showing correctly. So that's the only real difference there. You see that it's an unregistered user of 12D View, but once you click on the OK button and continue, there is no difference. So there's no problems at all. When you actually register it through the 12D View registration, it is then locked to a particular computer. So that's just one thing. You need to do a registration for each computer, because the unregistered will run on everything. Now, 12D View actually is a subset of the 12D Model 14 menus. So for those only using 12D Model version 12, it may look slightly different to what you're seeing, but that's because this has come from 12D Model 14. And that's why I'm saying this is for people who are using 12D Model already, so most of these things will be familiar with you, and it won't need very much explaining for you. So basically, we have the snaps available for picking things, just like we do in 12D Model. So you've got your point snap, your line snap, face snap. So all those things you can toggle on and off when you're inquiring on things and picking things, just the same as before. As far as the menus go, there's a more limited set of menu operations, and some of them you will be missing because they won't exist for 12D View compared to 12D Model. But there's still quite extensive things for you to be able to use. For example, you can open recent projects. So, and when you first start up 12D Model View, and I'll demonstrate that, you see all the projects listed, but from inside you can open the recent projects. You can open up existing projects by clicking on it just as you would in 12D Model. You can check the number of base points there are in the project. You can also look at project details, the information about the project. Under utilities, you can go and have a look at the project attributes. So all that sort of information is available to you from 12D View. And you've also got the settings, which is only new in version 14, where you've got the project settings to allow you to change things that will then work for that project. With 12D View, of course, we can't save them away, but a lot of them you can modify things to show it whilst you're in this project. So same idea as in 12D Model 14. So for example, under project settings, on the first screen there that you see, it's actually got a thing where you can change or tick on whether you want the new super inquire or you want to go back to the old inquire. So that's available there, and then it will stay there for whilst you're in this project. And you can also there pick your inquire style, and which you can also do when you do the inquire. So we'll see some of those things in action. So those things are there, just again a subset of what you could do with the full 12D model. So both turning super inquire on and off, or setting the inquire style to go with super inquire. But you can also change, as we said, as you go and use the option. Now on the 12D View file menu, it actually allows you to read in 12D XML data and 12DA files. It also, though, allows you to read in the zipped up version, the 12D XMLZ and the 12DAZ files. You're able to read in DWG files, GenIO files, IFC files, and also ADAC files. And I'll show you some examples of those last two and other ways that you might need to be aware of in 12D model to read some of the data in. There's a views menu, and basically here you can create plan views just like you could before. So even though the project may come up a certain way, you can move views around, delete views, create new views. All those things are still available inside 12D view. So plan views, you can do OpenGL plan views, section views. All the options on section views, they still are there in 12D view, so you can pick and profile an existing string. Actually, you can see one there just on the left-hand side there where we're profiling one. And you can also dynamic move around. When you move around your section view, you see where you are in the other views. All those things work exactly as in 12D model. Perspective views and also OpenGL perspective views. Some people have asked me, why on earth do we still have 3 view types? Why don't we just have one view and you look at it in, say, plan or whatever? Well, that's all very good, but a lot of information doesn't necessarily show up in a 3D view. For example, for 12D model users and surveyors, Z values may be null. You don't want to have to put some other value in there. You want to be able to have this has no Z value, because I don't want people to think it's got a value. Well, you can't show those sorts of things in an open or a perspective view. So in that case, though, they'll show up quite happily on a plan view. So as much as you can use the one view, the plan view has extra information it can show that won't show up in the OpenGL view or a view. And you don't want to give it a stupid value. I mean, what's the use of giving it 0 or something else because someone then must misinterpret it? And a lot of people use -999. And we had a customer in South Africa, of course, well, so that's not very good because we have mines that are deeper than a kilometre. And so the idea of a null Z value is very, very important. And by having the different view types, we can do it properly. The section views, as the thing about section views, yes, you can just do a cross section where it's just across a straight line, but you can have bend cross sections. You can also profile down alignment strings where it's got curves and things in it. So it's not just a cutting in a 3D view, it actually is much more important than that, and also projects things down onto the section. So that's why we have those views and why just saying one view type can't do it all, because there's different things that goes with each view. And 12D view has all those properties so they can use them. On the model menu, there's the model info, which gives you just information about one model. You have the model info table, and that'll list all the models and give the minimum and maximums and things for each model. And then the strings in a model table. If you haven't used that in 12D model, you pick a model and then it lists all the super strings and things in that model, and you can actually click on them down there and drill down and get X, Y, Zs for each of the super strings and things. So you might have actually seen it in 12D model, but it's available there in 12D view as well. And under utilities, you have your model attributes. So again, you can look at all the model attributes in 12D view. The string menu, well, because we don't create data, there's not too much on this one, but you have your string object inquire. I'll say object inquire because it not only picks up information about strings, it also picks up and you can show information about trimeshes, which are not strings as such. So it is more than just a string inquire, it is really an object inquire. And similarly with the properties under there, there's attributes. You can look at attributes not just on a string, but also there's attributes on things like a trimesh, and also tins have attributes as well. So all those are different types of attributes you can look at. So it's not just really strings. There is a 12D view BIM menu. These options actually also over on the file IO, because we have the importer for IFC files, which reads IFC 2x3, IFC 4, IFC 4x1, and we'll be looking and we're working on reading the ones about to come up for IFC roads and then all up to IFC 5, which will be released early next year. They're the ones that are really now for civil. Most down at, say, IFC 2x3, it's really for vertical buildings. But in IFC 4x1, they now have alignments and tins, and they'll be adding on all sorts of linear referencing and things. So the IFC 5 will be a really civil BIM format. And 12D View will be able to read all of them. You also can read in 12D the ADAC files. These are the ADAC XML files used around Australia and New Zealand for bringing in data for places like councils and water authorities. And I'll show you an example of how we can read one of those in. There's a tin menu, and you have your information on a tin. So your normal tin info. But you also have your tin inquiries. Now these are ones, if you've got a tin on the screen, you can wander around and see dynamically the aspect, the color, depth from height, string, depth between two tins, heights, slopes. And you can have as many of these up there at once. So the dynamic part about it all is that they're available just like in 12D model, drop onto a 3D, tin in 3D, and also tins on views. If you haven't used that one, you basically just wander over a view, you list your tins, and it'll just show you all the information about all the tins. So it's a very, very powerful one to look at a lot of the information all at once. So again, all those inquire operations are right there for you. Now, the utilities menu, as I said, we have the snaps, which most of those are set up the top, but there's a few extra ones around the snaps menu. But more, it's got all the measures in there. So you can pick on things. The normal inquire works, which gives you a lot of information, but you can also do the things like crossfall between strings, picking up bearing distance, plan areas, and so on. So all those sorts of measures are there for you, just as they were in 12D model. Now, I'm just going to show you a couple of examples of 12D view in action to show that there was nothing up my sleeve, that I haven't been making things up to you. So I'll just pull out of the presentation for a second, and I'll just show you over the screen. I've actually got 12D Model View 14 installed, and you see it's got little glasses on there to indicate that's 12D View, so it looks different to our 12D Model standard icon. So I'll just plonk there for you to see it so you can tell the difference. And it tells you here it's 14, and this is the 64-bit version. I can't imagine there's too many of you now who are using 32-bit versions. And I imagine by the time version 12D Model 15 comes out, there will be no 32-bit version. So basically, the icon looks a little bit different, but once you click on it and double-click, it'll fire up 12D, which looks very much like a 12D model, except it has a more limited set of things on there. So here you can see it's got the list of projects just like before, and I'll just double click on this first one here. So this will then fire up and look at that project just like it was like in 12D model. So the only difference is it'll have some restricted views and things, restricted menu structure, sorry. The views are pretty much the same, and that's about all. Right, of course it's come up on my other screen. So I will just bring it over for you. And so this is that particular project, same as in 12D model, and it's got a perspective 3D view in it, a plan view, and it's actually got a section view in there as well. And again, we can move these things around. We can do exactly as we did in 12D model. We can cancel blow-away views, except what will happen is it won't upset the project, so it'll go back to how it was. So basically, yep, you can read any existing project in just like that. Some other things, I'll open up some other projects just to show you, again, some of the other things in action and some things you might be aware of. So example here, I've got a project and it's called ground drop project. So that's a 12D model project. So what you can actually do in this case, I'll drag and drop it onto the 12D view icon, and it'll then open up that project straight away into 12D view. So that's a functionality that 12D model has as well, that you can drag and drop things so you don't have to fire up somewhere and then head down to where the data is. And again, it did come up just on my other screen, and this is what that project was. So the drag and drop can be very useful if you're right there and you don't have to bother about getting to where the position is when you start up a 12D model. And this demonstrates this particular project here. If I just hit on the plus here, this is the one that there's actually shared models and a shared tin that I can add onto the view. So this is a project with a shared model and a shared tin in there, so they can all be used and looked at inside 12D view. Obviously, the data then will just come in as normal. It's hidden away in there, the sewer. When we add it in, there's the shared model, or so it looked like exactly the same as the other one, so it's been shared in. And so then you'll see on the negative for taking them off. Right, so basically you can open up existing projects like that and still look at things and play around with them. As far as opening up, we said there was recent projects, so you can pick something out of the recent project list. We could go back to the one we were looking at before, or we can pick up open. We'll just open your normal screen where you can go and find a totally different project, where you go and find it somewhere else on the disk. Or we could go and drag and drop like I did. Here is though where you see the create empty project. So it's on this menu here. So if we click on that, that will actually then go and create this empty project for you, so you can then still read in data and display it and show what's going on. So it's as simple as that. You don't have to do anything special. It just picks up one that's been installed there for you. The unregistered message is just I'm using a new version, getting ready for it to put up for you. So here's that empty project. I've set this one up, so I've got a plan view, a perspective view, and a view I've called cross-section XS, which I've just set it to be one vertical exaggeration of 1, and then my long section view, which I've just set to be a vertical exaggeration of 10. Again, all those things you can change by just as you would inside 12D model. This is coming up here, but you can also then go in there and make that auto hide. Same sort of thing as 12D model. Now, 12D view then also has the other things of 12D model, and some of these are drag and drop. So what I'll go in there, and I'll just go into another project. I've got up here, I've got a IFC project, and inside this project I've got an IFC file. So in this case, I'm going to drag and drop the IFC file, hence it brings up the IFC Express reader ready to read the data in. I'll just change this default color. And so this is ready to go in just like before. It recognizes an IFC file because it's called .ifc, and away we go and read the data in. I won't demonstrate reading in a 12DA or a 12D XML file because you think, well, we should be able to do that since we do it quite a bit. So basically, read that in, it's finished. I might just then maximize this view and come and have a look at the data. So it's read it in and split in this case into the different types of the data in the IFC file, and then I'll just add them all to the view. Now, it's interesting here, you can see, ooh, what's this data? This is special data in the IFC file, which most of the time you don't want to see. So I'm going to remove that model, and just as we could before, we can pick something in 3D, and it will then remove that. And then there's some other funny things down here. Same thing, this is the IFC space, which is just blocks. We often hear about IFC files so you can have volumes of rooms and things like that. Most of the time what you have to do is you make it up like that. Most models just can't generate it like we can with all of our surfaces and things, and that's where this IFC space is. But often you don't want to view it when you're looking at your building. So those sorts of things, properties, just the same as in 12D model. You've got your orbit, other things available, just the same as inside 12D model. So that was an example where you can just drag and drop things on. Other types of readers we've got is, I'll look at, say, reading in some IFC, not some IFC data, some ADAC data. Now, in this case, it's an ADAC is an XML file, and look, unfortunately, there's millions of different types of XML files. That's why we call ours 12D XML, because then we can recognize that and know how to read it in. So I won't be able to drag and drop this one. So we'll just go up though to our BIM reader for ADAC, but I'll show you something you might be aware of. I can actually take that file name and drop it on where it's got ADAC XML. So it can do that straight away. You don't have to, again, I mean, you could go in there quite happily and find it and search for it and browse, but if you know where it is, you've got it there, just drag and drop it on there. Similarly, I can use a mapping file. So I'm reading in this data, but I'm still able to use a mapping file, just as you would reading in a 12D model. I'm going to do that in this space. I'll put Lee in here just to, so I've got the names and the models separated out from my others, and I'll just read that ADAC data in. So basically, virtually the same as what you can do now. So we'll have a look at here, and I'll just type in there, just get all the things with Lee, just as we can type in and whatever. There's an interesting one here that I probably don't want with the AJAC project header, since this is a strange spot. But again, we can highlight and just add all those in. Oops, sorry, should have just said add. I'm just removing the project header because it was down 00, and there's our ADAC data. Now, if anyone's read in straight ADAC data without a mapping file, it would all just come in red, because there's no such thing as color inside an ADAC file. But because we can use a map file, just like in 12D model, we're able to split things up into different models, give it different colors, just as you would when you're reading with 12D model. And with this data in here, we go to string inquire, you've got different inquire styles, and so there's ones for different things with ADAC or drainage. That's where we say you can have your different inquire styles, and that actually then allows you to tailor what you actually see when you pick things. So with ADAC data, it can look at it, and it's showing a whole lot of ADAC attributes, which you wouldn't normally want, say, if you're using your drainage style. You can limit the sort of attributes you want there, so different type of information. So all that sort of thing works exactly the same way as it does in 12D model, which gives you that power to quite easily change around what your inquire is going to give you for different times when you're doing different things. So that's available exactly the same as before. So we've seen there how you can create an empty project nice and easily. We've been able to read in a few different files, ones that you can drag and drop, just like you can drag and drop a whole project into 12D model. Other ones, though, where you can only drag and drop it into the field because we couldn't recognize the file type from its ending. So basically, all those things are still totally available inside 12D view. So that'll give you a bit of an idea of how it is. And as I said, this is really aimed at people who've been using 12D model. So I'm not going to go into detail about those options. So, but you should know exactly how they work. Because same menus up here that you had before. On your plan, your section, you can profile something just the same as before. Go here, pick something, and then profile it. Not certain how sensible our data is here to profile it, but that was just a simple string. Exactly the same as before, no different. Right, well, I'll just go back to our slideshow because we're virtually to the end of it for you. We've just gone through the demonstration. And big question though is, where do you find 12D View 14? Well, there's two places at the moment. You can go, if you are registered on our 12D model forum, you'll see under there's an area there called Forums, News and Announcements, 12D model software. And this is where we put, so you can download most of the software. So up there is things like the official release, the latest version of 12D model 14 is C2F. That's up there for you to get. There's also the official stores for 12D View. This one's an earlier version up there. We'll have another one probably up in the next week, which will be 14C2F. And so we'll just replace that. And similarly, there's the official installs there for, say, 12D model 12. So that's where you can go to look at these things. It gives you a lot of information on about downloading and things like that. So it's there and quite simply to go and use. So anyone who's registered on the 12D model forum can go to that. If you haven't registered the 12D model forum, you should, because it's a very, very powerful information gatherer. You can ask all sorts of questions and people get back to you and answers. Our support people, plus a lot of our users. So it's easy enough. You can click on our website and just go in and register. You just have to give a dongle number and then you'll get access to the forum. So If you haven't been on the 12D Model Forum, it's a fantastic source of information. So certainly do it, and that's where you can download your 12D views. Also though, on our website itself, and you'll see on there, on that website, whilst it's there, there's a 12D Model Forum. That's where you can click to go and then register the 12D Model Forum. But on here as well, under products, there's a product update there, there's 12D View. So again, if you click on that, it'll give you information to download 12D View. So it's available there for everybody. For those who don't have access to if you have access to the 12D Model Forum, it's there, and we put more updates there. And then on our www.12d.com, it's also available there. Again, people do say, why does the website get it later than the forum? Well, basically, we give it to our people who are registered and on the 12D Model Forums to be able to look at things fast and see how it all goes. And then we put it eventually up on www.12d.com once it's had more usage through a wider group of people. So we give it to our own users first before everyone else can get access to it. Right, so we're virtually to the end of our journey, and so I'll just summarize some of the points there. Basically, 12D View is a free 12D model project viewer, so it can open any of your 12D model projects. It can also view 12D model projects with shares. Now, obviously, you have to then give the people your 12D model project. But what a lot of our people do is they will just say, give them a 12D XML file. And then, because you can actually open an empty project, you can read in data from a variety of sources, you can just give them the 12D XML file. They can write up 12D View and open an empty project and read the data in as well. So you don't have to give people your projects. You can just give them 12D XML files with information in it, and they're able to run up 12D View, do an empty project and read it in. So if you're worried about giving out your 12D model projects, even if you cut them down, this is another way of going about it and still makes it very, very easy for the person at the other end. So as it's just saying there, you can create the empty projects and read data into it and view it. So either way, you give them a 12D model project or just give them another data source and they can read it in, which could include all your 12D XML data. It can use an existing 12D model authorization. It can use a 12D view authorization if you've registered for it, or it can run unregistered. So everybody can use 12D view. There is no restrictions. If you've got existing 12D model authorization, you'll see that in your client, so you'll see that, but people can run it unregistered on any computer at any time. So it's not locked down in any particular way and is available to everybody. So thank you very much. That was a fairly quick run through 12D View, but as 12D model users, you'll have no trouble running the product.
Thanks, Lee. Actually, before we finish, there was just one question that that I thought I might send through to Lee live. David was asking whether you can share in models. Is that something that's possible, Lee?
I don't think you can actually share in models. You need a project where it's already been shared in. So I was opening a project where it was already shared into it. But I must admit, I haven't actually tried it, but I don't believe the sharing in is there. So I'll have to give it a try myself, but I was assuming that everything was already shared in.
Sure. So yeah, if we find out anything different, we can email through some information on that. Thanks for sending through your question. And yeah, I think we'll email some answers to the other questions that are there. I think they're probably a little bit complex to take live. So yeah, we'll get some answers through to you, the rest of you, shortly. The recording of today's webinar will be available in coming days through the webinars page on our website and through our 12D Model YouTube channel. Keep an eye on our emails and social media for details of our future webinars. We'll kick both series off again from mid-January 2020. And of course, our 2020 Tech Forum will be on in August next year. So don't forget to check out the early bird discount for that. I think that pricing's available until early in May. So yeah, it's a good time to take advantage of that special pretty soon. If you need to contact us in the meantime, I'll pop some details on the screen. That concludes our presentation for today. Thank you all for attending, and we hope to see you at future webinars.